Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to this episode where we will carry on the subject of self-purification, working on our self-improvement, trying to be better as Muslims and as human beings. In former episodes, we discussed the various diseases of the heart, various weaknesses, but we focused on 5 main ones: heedlessness, or what we call the cool fool, thinking everything is fine, believing everything is fine when it actually isn't, and not caring to be curious, not caring to get to the truth of issues. We discussed the problem that many of us also have of being like the eagle, arrogance, showcasing brilliance or showcasing the gifts that Allah has given us. The third we discussed was being comparative, hinging our happiness with things that are in the possessions of others, looking at ourselves as not beautiful enough, not wealthy enough, not happy enough because somebody has something that we don't have, and not counting our own blessings and being grateful. Defensiveness, the problem of the crocodile, not accepting correction, behaving as if we make no mistakes. We like to learn, but we don't like to be taught. The other problem is that of the chameleon, of always wanting to blend in, belonging to the ring of friends, some precious ring, like in the movie Lord of the Rings, where our relationships seem to be one where we are always seeking acceptance of others, always trying to please others, and what others think seem to be more important to us than what does Allah think. This becomes a form of shirk, unfortunately, where others have a greater authority on us than our Creator. We would like to look at certain virtues, certain qualities that if we can work on, can help us in countering our weaknesses, and in some cases we've described them as vices. Limits of our egos when they are off balance. Humility is one critical one we'll be looking at. And we'll touch on all of these briefly, but we'll come back more solidly on each. So we'll look at humility, we'll look at curiosity, just wanting to know the truth. Whether it's from those who you believe are above you, or those who you believe are below you, or those who are beside you. Where we don't allow, with a combination of humility and curiosity, we don't allow people's backgrounds to affect useful information that could help our self-improvement, our professional improvement, or our improvement in any aspect of our lives. The third is sincerity. Sincerity to yourself, to your conscience, but most importantly, between you and Allah. That in every decision you ask yourself, can I meet Allah comfortably with this decision on the Day of Judgment? And if not, then you should have a problem. If you feel guilty, it's good you feel guilty. If you didn't feel guilty about something that was wrong, then you would be like the mosquito. You would be heedless. You would be like the cool fool who thinks everything is fine when it's not. You numb your conscience when you are no more guilty of what is wrong, or don't feel guilty you didn't do enough good. The fourth is commitment. Commitment to truth. Commitment to fairness, commitment to justice, commitment to compassion, commitment to the whole list of virtues that you can imagine. Commitment to self-improvement. Just like riding a bicycle, you fall when you stop pedaling. Commitment is like rowing a boat. When you stop rowing, the river takes you wherever it wants to go. Commitment is that tenacity, resilience, perseverance, endurance, and focus on self-improvement. It's the jihad bin nafs that you never graduate from. If time allows, we'll look a little at the subject of compassion. This is a very important, all-encompassing value. But before we spend too much time on specific issues, I'd like to tell you a little story. And from this story, I hope we are able to extract some lessons that would be more memorable. I can't remember the name of the story. I I heard it long ago. But I think it was called something like The Road Back Home. But I'm sure it's a story some of you have bumped into here and there. And I'd like, as I tell the story, for you to reflect on life as a journey back home, a journey back to Allah. That to Allah marji'ukum jami'an is the return of all of us. So life in this world is really life on a road, on our way back to Allah. The Quran teaches us, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To Allah we belong, and to Allah we return. In this story, there was a man, he was a baker. He made bread, he made cakes. He had a neighbor who would sometimes borrow food from him, but wouldn't pay back. And this baker was getting very frustrated with this neighbor and had spoken to him on many occasions. He will still send his children to borrow food, borrow bread. This neighbor was a very obnoxious person, to be honest and fair to the baker. He would insult, he would backbite, go into shady deals. You never knew what this guy was up to. All you find, he's borrowed from this person, borrowed from another person, and he was quite miserly. One day, the baker was in the market buying flour when he saw his neighbor. And he told his neighbor, I've been waiting to get you to refund the money you owe me. You don't. Now I see you in the market, you've got money to buy things with. The obnoxious neighbor started to insult the baker. Huge insults. The baker got very angry and he also started to insult. They were really about to have a fight. People came and separated them. And the neighbor said to the baker, I will deal with you. I will deal with you. This is not the end of all of this. And the baker said, I'll deal with you. This is not going to be the end of this. See what's going to happen to you. And that's how they were separated, and everybody went back home. The next morning, the baker came outside his shop to clean the place and prepare for the day. Very early morning. Before anybody came out, what did he see outside his shop? The dead body of his neighbor. He couldn't believe it. He touched the body and found he's really dead. And his mind went back to his conversation in the market and the threats he had made. And he knows his town. These people are going to come and lynch me. They're not even going to go to court. Everybody is going to suspect I'm the killer. What to do? He panicked. He ran into the house, went upstairs, told his wife, you know what? I have to leave now. He said, going where? What happened? I can't explain, but it's not me. It's not you. What? Look, I love you all. You take care of the business. There's enough money in the locker. May Allah take care of you. I have to go. What are you talking about? Say, it's better for all of you. I'll see you when I see you. But if you don't hear from me, inshallah, Allah will be with you. She was confused. He ran downstairs, ran out of the house, and just kept running. Before anybody had woken up in town, this baker had gone. Baker traveled. He went, he kept traveling, he went, walking past this village until after nearly 3 days, he reached a place he had never heard of before. A town where he believes nobody knows me, nobody knows. He would ask, do you know this, my small town? I never heard of it. Or he felt he was far enough. He changed his name, no more keeping the same name, tried to, grew a big beard, tried so that nobody could recognize him. And he looked for work. And he was told, well, there's one guy, Suleiman, he's a very wise counselor, very wise advisor. And his name is Suleiman. And anybody who needs any support, you have a problem, just go and tell Suleiman. That guy's an encyclopedia. He has read a lot. He is well connected. If you have any problem, insha'Allah, Suleiman can answer. However, before anybody goes to Suleiman for any advice, whatever your problem is, there's some money you will put at the receptionist's place. They will give you your appointment. You will come. You will get your advice. You go. And if Suleiman feels the advice he wants to give you is so valuable, he can increase how much you have to pay before he gives you your advice. But everybody who goes to get advice from Suleiman always comes back. And he has a huge, very positive reputation and brand. Everybody likes him. He has solved so many problems. And he is quite wealthy. So the baker goes to Suleiman and tells him, I have come looking for a job. I don't know whether there's any job you can offer me. Suleiman said, actually, the receptionist wants to leave by next week. So, if you can do that job, it's a very simple, straightforward job. I can pay you now. I can pay you at the end of the month. I can pay you, depends on what kind of arrangement you want. But people come and wait for long. So I hope you know how to maybe cook or make biscuits. He said, oh, I'm also a baker. Alhamdulillah, Suleiman said, I'll employ you. So, do you have a place to stay? No, not yet. Suleiman said, no problem. I have a place where I keep guests. You can stay there and start work next week. Meanwhile, be learning from the gentleman who is there what the job is like. And that's how Suleiman got the baker to work for him, and he was working for him. The payment arrangement, the baker said to Suleiman, I'm not sure how long I will be working for, but what I would want is you pay me when I'm finally ready to go back. So whatever value you think my work is here, after the number of years, when I'm ready to go, inshallah, you pay me that amount when I'm ready to go. Say, okay, if you don't mind handling my feeding, I don't want any more money. You've given me accommodation. If I get food, I can work. That's all I need. No problem. And that's how they continued. Inshallah, when we come back from the break, we'll continue with our story of the life of the baker with Suleiman. Assalamu alaikum.